It's really about teamwork and collaboration, building strong intergenerational teams and understanding what motivates and engages and drives each generation. This can have a bigger impact on the bottom line. I'm sure that all of you have had some conversations on this topic of generations, so you are aware of how quickly this typically goes to a negative place. And this generational hazing, it's always been a part of our cultural narrative. There's a famous quote which says, "I see no hope for the future of our people if they are dependent on the frivolous youth of today." Does anyone want to guess when this was said? This 1890, that's so specific, 1895. I had a gentleman in an audience recently and he was like, "I said that this morning." I'm like, "I'm not quoting you, sir." This was actually Hesiod in 8th century BC. So this is something we've always done, and as we go through this, we'll talk a little bit about why we do this to each other and how to get past these counterproductive conversations and move to a place of more understanding. And it's important to know that with this topic of generations, it's not designed to encourage nostalgia for the way things used to be. The study of generations is designed to help us understand and adapt to the way things are now. So too often when we talk about generational patterns, we're trying to figure out who's better or worse or what's right or wrong. In my research, I come at this from an objective lens, and I would urge all of you to do the same, to look at this research in a way that's values neutral. We're not trying to decide what's better or what's worse, we're just trying to uncover what is, and then what that means for our clients and our workplaces today. As the workforce continues changing, it's important to have that perspective that how we work and our relationship to work is constantly evolving. And it wasn't that long ago where the majority of the American workforce worked outside on farms. And now the majority of the American workforce works inside in offices, and one day we will not. And that is a continual evolutionary process, our relationship to our jobs. When we talk about longevity, what we tend to focus on is what does it mean to be older for longer? But the reality is if you're older longer, you're also younger longer. How we allocate our time while we're alive is highly dependent on how much time we think we have. So if we recognize that life is longer, then obviously life stages would begin to shift. This quote is from some young woman who was in one of my focus groups recently, and she said, "We have limited power. We have our vote, we have our voice, and we have our dollar. If we don't use those tools to express our values, what values do we really have?"